Welcome to the Rising Society podcast. I am Shane Kennedy.
I'm Nico Galliano, the rejected gentleman.
All right, man. Well, it's been a while.
It has been.
We had a great show last time with Shannon a couple weeks ago.
That was a great show, dude. I really enjoyed that a lot.
So much fun. But a lot of things have gone down since then, haven't they?
One or two things have transpired since our last show.
So you want to get into the Trump assassination attempt?
Dude, yeah, I absolutely fucking want to get into that, dude. Just right off the rip, before we even go into it, I know that we have another show planned with a lot of detail on this because stuff's still unraveling.
Yeah.
And we're going through a couple very unique different theories. So we're going to give our, go through all those. What are your thoughts? Do you think, real quick, genuine, not genuine?
Well, I mean, I think...
Hunch.
So I think what's been presented to us, for the most part, are facts. I just think that the narrative is maybe like 15% complete. It's like we're looking at 15% of a portrait of that's depicting what happened. And there's still about 85% that we don't know about. I guess it'd be more akin to like an iceberg. They say that like a bigger part of it is below the water than is above the water.
Correct.
So I think we're only seeing the part that's above the water right now.
All right. You think there's a lot more to come on?
I think there's a lot more.
All right.
And these are all things that we are going to get into next week.
Correct.
But there's the speculation about there possibly being a second shooter on top of the water tower, which was not secured. And another interesting fact about that water tower is it was the highest ground for a sniper. And the water tower was up. I don't know how tall the water tower is. We can get into all those details next week. But the water tower literally looms over the back of that slightly sloped building that Thomas Matthew Crooks took his shots from. So there are people, including ballistics experts, that say that there possibly was a second shooter up in the water tower that was taking shots along with the lone gunman, Thomas Matthew Crooks. We really don't know, though.
And like you said, we're definitely going to give our true opinions and a couple theories, even if we don't agree with them on the next one. Yep. That's going to be a majority of that show. But just right off the rip, I like to declare where I stand. I will say that I was wrong. We'll get to it later, but I was wrong on the Biden thing, kind of. But on this topic right here, I will say that I do not think Trump had anything to do with it. So I don't think it was like a Trump.
Oh yeah, let's get into that. So explain that, because I think people and I know people who all think that this was staged.
Yes. So okay, real quick, like I said, definitive statement. I don't think Trump had anything to do with it. I do think it was an inside job. I do think that some people were involved in this. I do think there's a possibility multiple shooters, maybe one shooter. I do know I've talked to two people that are in private security, and a police officer that is local that deals in security or helps affiliate it when they have like events and stuff like that. And they said absolutely none of it makes sense on the way that they had it set up. That building should have definitely had someone on it. It makes absolutely no sense. I believe it was the highest ground, correct?
Well, the building was high ground. What was high ground? It wasn't the highest ground. It just it had a really, really good angle for a sniper to be from.
Correct.
But the interesting thing is the roof of that building was not included in the security perimeter.
Correct.
And that water tower, which was an even better sniper's nest, was nowhere near the outer periphery of the security perimeter.
Like, no one agrees that the security was sufficient,
right,
to have someone running as a president and past president to have the security. So anyways, back to the inside job. I know a lot of people, and it's becoming more and more popular. It was right off the rip, especially if you're on TikTok. TikTok's really pushing this narrative that this is possibly an inside job by the Trump administration and his cronies, that somehow they got this perfect marksman that could take the tip of Trump's ear off. Or I've even heard maybe it's more like a WWE style, that nothing actually hit Trump's ear, right? They had the loud chapang.
like fake blood and stuff.
That he went down and cut his own ear with like a razor, like they do in wrestling, and that's when they jumped on him. And because the photo afterwards of him, which I think this is going to go down as one of the most iconic photos, probably
next to the mugshot.
Yeah, I mean, this guy is so, for being an ugly bastard, okay, for being just a large orange guy with a toupee, he's the most photogenic president I think we've had in my lifetime. The mugshot photo, this fist in the air. They're saying that it was too perfect with that American flag behind him, his ear gushing blood down onto his, through his cheek, onto his collar, and then the security coming around him, and he's just sitting there with his fist in the air.
Saying fight,
fight. Like fight, all the way until they got him into the car. So there's a lot of people that I personally know and that we've listened to these theories that this is an inside job by Trump and it's a publicity stunt. I couldn't disagree more. There's no way you got a marksman to shoot a gnat off this guy's ear, its ass off his ear, or the fact that they did some kind of WWE right in front of this crowd and that they, murdered that fireman out in the crowd because there had to be some loss, right? Is what they're saying.
So I think the important thing right now is for people to keep an open mind.
Correct.
To keep an open mind. Hey, you know what? If people are saying that they think Donald Trump that this was all like a big act, hear them out, and make it a point to expose yourself to as many facts as possible. Listen to what the line of reasoning is for every single perspective and point of view on this thing, right? Now, the thing that I find the most interesting, beyond who the shooter or shooters were, is the security perimeter. Because the thing is, there is no lone gunman, there is no team of just random random assassins, of random radical assassins that can go in and tell the Secret Service to break their protocol and not secure the high ground that would be around that would be around the one that they're protecting. And for them to listen to that person, so the thing is that would imply that there is some kind of conspiracy, or that there is some kind of that the Secret Service or our government were somehow in on it. And remember that Secret Service used to be under the Treasury Department. Then after 9/11, Secret Service are now under the Department of Homeland Security.
Correct.
Right.
Yes.
So the thing is, I guess what I'm saying is, if this were somehow an inside job, then it would it would come through the conduit of DHS. And that's one of the reasons, I think in many ways this fixation on that Cheadle woman who was the head of the Secret Service who resigned yesterday. I think there's all this focus on her as a scapegoat. I don't think she's probably not all that talented of a woman. I don't really know. I know that she was hired on as head of Secret Service from having been head of security for Pepsi. Protecting Pepsi and Doritos
Did you
and stuff, right?
See the meme?
Yeah.
It's like, shut your mouth and go back to guarding chips.
to guarding Doritos in the break room.
Doritos in the break room.
well, but the thing is, in many ways, I think she was probably a DEI hire. Probably not the best one for the job. Again, I don't know 100%, but whenever you have an administration or a group of people that are just touting and saying we're promoting people based upon their gender or their skin color, and we're not promoting them based upon merit, it kind of raises it makes me kind of concerned, especially when it's an important position like people that are protecting somebody, right? But okay, so here, let me walk this back. I think that she's a scapegoat. I think she probably received an order from somebody at the DHS. We're going to break our standard protocol. We're not going to secure the high ground over there. Don't ask any questions, and and we're just going to do it this way. Just shut up and just do what we tell you. And if she would have protested at all, they very well could have said, "Hey, we need to have a talk with you inside of a skiff, inside of a secured a secured room." Mm-hmm. And they probably showed her like the non-blurry version of the Zapruder film of them shooting President Kennedy and his head exploding, and saying, "Look, if you don't go along with what we tell you to do, that could be you, or that could be your kid, or that could be your husband, or that could be a member of your family." You know? So in many ways, I think she's been set up as the scapegoat that we're all supposed to hold accountable for this, and then we're just supposed to move on afterward. Well, the thing that we need to be doing is we need to be asking, who ordered the Secret Service to violate their own protocol, which says you secure all the high ground. Doesn't matter what the high ground is, you secure all of it, and it doesn't matter if a roof is slightly sloped, mm-hmm. right? You get on it and you secure it. You secure everything. And I see a lot of parallels between this attempted assassination and the Kennedy assassination, where the Secret Service, ironically, in the Kennedy assassination, they broke protocol and decided that they weren't going to secure some rooftops in Dallas, and they also decided that they weren't going to secure buildings. Mm-hmm. That's the reason that you can go back to video of the Kennedy parade route in 1963 in Dallas, and you can see people hanging out of windows and stuff and waving and yelling, "Mr. President, Mr. President." Well, ever since the assassination of President Lincoln and the Secret Service were tasked with protecting the president, the standard protocol for Secret Service would be to put a man at every building and to make sure all the windows are closed and to secure the roof. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes, if the Secret Service couldn't secure it on their own, if they didn't have enough manpower, then they would call in army brigades to go in and secure buildings if they didn't have enough people. Mm-hmm. That was standard operating procedure. So it's fascinating that there was a hiccup in security in 1963 in Dallas where the Secret Service decided that they were going to violate protocol and they just weren't going to secure the high ground, the rooftops and windows and everything. And then the same thing happens here. Just randomly, they decide that they're not going to secure the high ground, the water tower and the top of that building. And it's interesting that both times that they decide that they're going to violate their protocol, this perfect constellation happens where they leave this gaping opening and an assassin is somehow aware of it and goes in and takes advantage of it. Mm-hmm. That's interesting, isn't it?
It was very interesting.
So the thing I would say is it's just wild coincidence, or this was an inside job.
So let me jump ahead a little bit. I don't want to get to the next topic yet. Do you think, I know you don't want to solidify your opinion on this. Do you think, no, I can't ask the question because you want to go over it next time. Do you think that Trump was not supposed to walk off the stage that day? Okay,
you're asking, do I think he was supposed to basically leave the stage in like a body bag?
Yes.
I think 100%. I think the intention was for Donald Trump not to survive that shooting.
Okay. I concur.
Yeah.
I don't think Trump was supposed to walk off the stage that day. Now, just real quick, we're going to stay on this. If Donald Trump doesn't walk off the stage that day, do you think the next topic we're going to talk about happens?
What do you mean?
Do you think Biden resigns?
No.
Okay.
No. And actually, I think that they were prepared to run Joe Biden all the way up, probably all the way up to the DNC. And at the end of the day, I think they were going to have him drop out of the DNC. You and I have talked about this before. Mm-hmm. But
on our live, we're not actually doing anything out of order because we talked about this on the last show.
Right. Now,
you were correct. I was wrong.
But this is the thing, though. I don't think they intended for for Joe Biden to step down at this point. Mm-hmm. And I do not think, and I think that they had planned on skipping over Kamala altogether.
You don't think that was even their option?
No. Yeah, I don't think that was part of their plan.
Well, technically, they haven't endorsed her yet, correct?
Right. So the thing is, there's nothing solid about Kamala yet, and I think in some ways the Democratic, the DNC establishment, who have been opposed to a serious primary since the very beginning of primary season this year. Mm-hmm. And this is the thing, to their credit, people like AOC and the Squad and all of those pretty wild progressives, like the Bernie Sanders crowd, not including Bernie Sanders, but the people who were very, very avid Bernie supporters. They were saying since the beginning of this year, it's not democratic for the Democratic Party to torpedo the notion of there being a serious primary. Mm-hmm. What they were saying was that in the name of democracy, Joe Biden needs to face a serious primary. And if he wins the primary, great. He can run for re-election. But if he doesn't win the primary, then the will of the people will have to be carried out at the convention. Mm-hmm. And the people running the DNC said, we're not going to allow that to happen. We're going to torpedo the whole thing. And so now it's kind of ironic that the party who's saying that democracy is on the ballot, that Donald Trump plans on ending democracy, that party's nominee will not have been democratically elected in the primary.
Correct, which is the most ironic fucking thing on the planet, because you got a bunch of fat cats and movers and shakers that they have very specific reasons that they want individuals, and they don't give a fuck what the will of the people says. Yeah, because it doesn't fit their narrative. Like, we still play this game, right, that we have the illusion of the will of the people still matters. We know very much so that that's just not factual.
Well, and you see, that's another thing that I think plays into this entire assassination attempt on Donald Trump. I think at the very least, and I'm talking like very least, I'm saying, let's say this isn't an inside job. Let's say this kid is just suffering from mental illness and was fixated on this idea that Donald Trump, that he had to do what he had to do to try to save the country or something. He probably perceived himself as being a patriot. Again, if this was not an inside job. Mm-hmm. I think this very, very toxic narrative that democracy is on the ballot, and that if Donald Trump wins the election, that he's going to put an end to democracy, that if he democratically wins the election, that he's going to put an end to democracy, that I think what that does, I think a lot of very radical people on the left have been entertaining in the back of their minds that ethical dilemma that people will oftentimes ask whenever they're talking about Hitler. If I had a time machine, would I go back in time and kill Hitler's pregnant mom? Mm-hmm. And a lot of these people would say that the ethical thing to do would be to go back and do that. Mm-hmm. So if you actually truly believe this wingnut whacked out conspiracy theory that Donald Trump is going to bring an end to democracy, if democracy is your god and you truly believe that first of all, that democracy is the greatest thing since sliced, or is the greatest thing ever, mm-hmm. and if you believe that Donald Trump is going to put an end to it, and you believe that democracy is something worth fighting for, then I think that rationalizes an assassin trying to take out Donald Trump, which is very, very dangerous.
Absolutely.
That's far more dangerous than any of the crazy kooky stuff that these mainline Democrats will accuse mainline Republicans of doing or being. Mm-hmm. Because their very toxic narrative, it rationalizes violence in the name of patriotism.
Did you see, I don't know if it was the direct day after or the following day, so it could be up to 48 hours. Did you see that Donald Trump, and I thought this was brilliantly done by either him or his PR team, he went golfing, mm-hmm. and he had his little thing on his ear, and he's out there golfing, and like people are talking to him, right? I'm sure these people were searched and vetted, right? Now this probably was a publicity stunt, but he made a beautiful putt. Right, the guy can fucking golf. I don't care what anyone says. He would whip Joe Biden's ass at golf. I do know that. I've watched him golf several times. But he hits this beautiful putt. It had to be, no exaggeration, had to be a 14, 16-foot putt. Very nice putt. Kind of right to left, went right in. He turns to the camera, and he says, "That's the difference between me and the shooter. I don't miss my shots." And I thought that was so well phrased, to come out so fast after almost losing your life and your fucking ear exploding off the side of your head, and then come out and not only be publicly seen, even though I'm sure it's a very controlled environment, not only to be publicly seen, but to have that confidence in this isn't going to scare me out of not still being the man I was 2 days ago. And I thought what he did for the firefighter, where he had that little setup and he goes and he kisses the firefighter helmet, I thought that was very well done too. And you could generally see that he was sad about that whole affair. You know what I mean? And that's what we need to be acknowledging, is that I'm talking within 30 minutes of a school shooting, half the fucking country knows about it. And within 6 hours, everyone knows about it. This was not even framed. I didn't hear one cry, and don't get me wrong, I never blame guns, but I didn't hear one cry of gun violence on this, which I find very ironic.
Well, in fact, I remember seeing one of the very first pieces of commentary that aired on CNN right after the assassination attempt happened. Well, actually, the very first reports from CNN and Washington Post and New York Times that they posted online,
right,
were that Donald Trump falls after getting scared by hearing loud noises at the rally and
falls
stuff.
At rally.
Yeah. Then after they couldn't deny that it was an assassination attempt, I forget who the commentator was on CNN, but she said that Donald Trump, getting up and raising his fist and saying "fight, fight, fight," that was him inciting violence.
It was an act of violence.
Yeah, and somebody
like January 6th.
Yeah, and somebody needed and she was like, and I'm paraphrasing here, somebody needs to call him on the carpet for this because he's inciting violence here.
Yeah, like he was doing a war cry for like a fucking civil war that he was calling for.
But the thing is, pardon him. He just had his ear blown off.
Yeah, exactly.
He got shot in the head.
I do find it very, very wild. Like I said, the difference is the difference will always be for me, and I know I've said this several times on the show, between liberals and conservatives, or Democrats or Republicans, however you want to phrase it, left versus right. Okay, the difference will be is I don't like the right. Okay, I don't like them in general. I'm not a big fan. I agree with them probably more than the left, but I don't like the right. But I despise the left. And that will always be the difference. Yeah. The right angers me, and the left disgusts me.
Well, and the thing is, I remember, it's hard to believe, almost 20 years ago, 15, 20 years ago, when you and I were very much involved in the Ron Paul campaign and the Ron Paul stuff.
I started off a Republican.
But remember how Republicans were the ones that were more hostile to us, because Republicans loved war more, and Republicans hated the idea that the Bill of Rights protects you, or that the Bill of Rights grants you privacy from your government being able to intrude in your life. And remember, people on the left agreed with us. Like, people on the left would be like, we need to say no to war. We need to say no to giving the federal government the power to just to wiretap American citizens and everything.
2017?
No, that was like 2008, 2009, 2010.
I'm sorry, that's what I meant. 2000.
Okay, yeah, you meant to say 2007, 2008, 9, 10
to 2009 is when we were real big into the Tea Party movement, right? We started into
and even a lot of the Tea Party movement people, they were very hostile to us.
Yeah, we went to. I was about to say, do you remember we went to an event at the Tea Party, and I don't remember if it was Tampa. I don't recall. And we actually kind of got pushed out of it. Mm-hmm. Remember, they were very hostile towards us, and I will give that. The mid 2000 to late 2000 liberals at that time, right? The kind of Obama kind of movement, actually were more sympathetic to your and I points of view,
right,
than the right was, because they had a very war hawk conservative view. Yeah. They were very militant right wingers, which was wild because physically we were very conservative. Well,
and that's what I love about today's Republican Party now. Mm-hmm. Is today's Republican Party, because of Donald Trump's hostile takeover of it, it's a hostile place for the George Bush types and for the Dick Cheney types. And
fuck them.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, but the thing is, it reveals the left are being hypocrites, because the left are the ones who embrace George W. Bush and Dick Cheney, and they say, well, we disagreed on them. You know, we didn't think it was all that great of an idea at the time for them to kill millions of Iraqis, but you know, they're good guys. They're men of God.
You voted Republican 2 or 3 times now since you've been able to vote, right?
The first time I voted Republican was for Donald Trump.
No, you voted for Bush.
No, I didn't. No.
Did you not?
No, I didn't vote for George W. Bush.
You weren't old enough to vote yet.
Right.
My first year was an election year. I turned 18 on an election year. And that
was 2008, wasn't it?
Correct.
Yeah.
I've only, since 2008, which was my first eligible year to vote, which just happened to be an election year, I turned 18 in June, and the election was in November, correct? Mm-hmm. I've only voted Republican 1 time.
Well, and listen,
it was the year Trump lost. I voted for Trump.
In 2020,
In 2020, I voted for Donald Trump, and he lost that year.
Well, and I can tell you this. In 2008, it was the guy from Arizona that was a Vietnam vet.
I wrote in Ron Paul.
Yeah, that election I wrote in Ron Paul, and I remember having a lot of mainline Republican friends of mine calling me up and saying,
almost unfriend me.
Yeah, calling me up and saying, if you write in Ron Paul, then that's like a vote for Barack Obama. And what I would tell them is, I would say, no. All that you would have had to have done is supported Ron Paul in the primary.
Correct.
Because I don't support the wars. I don't support the Patriot Act. I don't support the war on drugs. I don't support any of that kind of stuff.
Don't throw that fucking bullshit
Right.
at my feet.
Yep.
Because you could have just easily fucking, like you said,
Yep.
supported Ron Paul, and I would have been voting for him in the Republican nominee. But you didn't.
Yeah.
You backed your fucking war horse. Was it McCain that? No.
Yeah, John McCain.
Was John McCain that
John
year?
McCain was in 2008. Mitt Romney was in 2012.
You're right, 2012, which we just had 2 liberals. So
Yeah, exactly.
in 2008, it was John McCain, and I was like, you voted the war horse, right? Not taking anything away from the guy. Mm-hmm. I'm not fucking doing it.
Let's not call them let's call them war pigs.
We're pigs. Yeah, okay, whatever. Anyway,
That's what they are. That's what they've always been.
they love war, and I was like, I'm not fucking doing it. So don't throw that at my feet. Like, it's my responsibility that I'm voting, for a libertarian candidate, which I don't remember. Oh, I wrote in Ron Paul, and in 2012 would have been the next election, which was between Barack Obama and Mitt Romney. What a fucking joke.
It was a shit show.
What a joke that was. I believe I wrote in Ron Paul again. I voted Ron Paul, because he ran again in 2012, correct?
Yes, he did.
And that was the last year he ran.
Yep.
And then in 2016, I believe I voted for Joe Jorgensen.
You see, in 2016, I looked at the lay of the land, and I thought to myself, for whatever reason, the people in D.C., the administrative state, the people who aren't elected, the deep state, right? For whatever reason, they hate Donald Trump. They hate him with a passion. And so I voted for Donald Trump because not
In
because
2016 you did?
2016, and I didn't vote for him necessarily because I agreed with him on everything ideologically. I voted for him because I thought he was the asshole that all the assholes in DC deserve to work for. Right?
I misspoke. 2016.
And that's still the number one reason that I will be voting for Donald Trump this year.
2016, Joe Jorgensen ran that year, correct? Or is that 2020?
2020, I think.
In 2016,
Gary Johnson was 2016.
I voted Gary Johnson. You're
Yeah.
correct. In 2016,
Gary Johnson was Libertarian Party candidate in 2016. Joe Jorgensen was Libertarian Party candidate in 2020.
She did not win. She was not the candidate. Did
in
she win
2020,
it?
she was.
Okay, well then, I never voted for Donald Trump then.
Well, you still supported him in your heart and soul, But the important thing is...
No, yes, I did. It was 2016 I voted for him then, because I did not vote for Gary Johnson. Remember? I said I wasn't going to do it because fuck Gary Johnson.
Because the Aleppo... Remember the Aleppo thing? He was like, that's Aleppo. Remember?
I did not vote for Gary Johnson. I did vote George Jorgensen, which I think would have been a phenomenal president, by the way.
So, okay, so this is the fascinating thing to me. I guess... So, I guess we can kind of move on from the Trump assassination stuff.
Because we're going to cover that in detail next time.
Yeah. We're going to talk about like the Heritage Foundation cell phone data. We're going to kind of dig into that and see if there's anything there or if it's a bunch of kind of like smoke and mirrors. We'll look into the argument that that there may have been a shooter on top of the water tower. We'll kind of look at that and look at what the facts are, look what the speculation is, and just kind of lay it all out there for people, you know. But this is the interesting thing: the Republican Party today is radically different from the Republican Party in 2008.
It's not even the same.
Yeah, it's not even the same
close.
thing. And again, and the Democrat Party is not the same today as it was in 2008. And
No, the 2008 Democrats, like the true 2008
Yep.
Democrats, are more moderates now.
yes,
They've been pushed towards that center.
and not just that, but the thing is, I think you still had a lot of working class people that were Democrats back in 2008.
And more Hispanics.
Yeah, more Hispanics, more, a lot of minorities still bought into the whole Democrat thing.
Correct.
2008, you had Barack Obama and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But I think what's happened now is you've had like a great reshuffling where the base of the Democratic Party is now wealthy people.
Yes.
Basically the people that run the Democratic Party, it's wealthy white people.
Who are disillusioned with everyday society.
Right, yes. And then the Republican Party, the base of the Republican Party is working class people. And
Well, the Liberal Party does seem to have a stronghold on the youth, which
you're talking about the Democrats?
yes, which is funny because the Democrats hate young people.
Well, but this is the interesting thing is a lot of the youth are very nihilistic now because they're looking at the system and they're like, based on what I can earn, even after I go to college or if I go to trade school or something, based on the income that I'll be bringing in, I won't be able to afford rent. I won't be able to afford to buy a house. I won't be able to afford to buy food.
Yes, all the way up until I will agree with you. That wasn't the case in the 2020 election.
Right, yeah.
But this economy, now that they've suffered 4 years of choking on that big chode, they're starting to realize, this sucks.
Now, but, the interesting thing to me is that the Republican Party has become the party that's less hostile to anti-war people, and it's also become the party that's less hostile to working class people.
Correct.
The Republican Party actually has a pretty big area under the umbrella that's hospitable toward union workers. That wasn't the case in 2008. And the thing is, the Republican Party the Democratic Party on the other hand, a lot of the people that we would call neocons, people like Bill Kristol, the son of Irving Kristol, and Dick Cheney and George W. Bush and all those types, they don't really have a home in the Republican Party anymore. People like Victoria Nuland, she was a Republican back then, and her husband Robert Kagan was another neoconservative. I'm not sure if you know who he is, but they're no longer welcome in the Republican Party. They're all Democrats now, and so now the Democrat Party has become
But that's not necessarily unique to the Republican Party, because I would argue that the Democratic Party has done the exact same thing with your Blue Dog Democrats. Like I said, I think they've pushed them out.
The Blue Dog Democrats have been pushed out to the Republican Party now.
They've been pushed out to where...
Case in point, West Virginia, right?
Yes, you have your...
West Virginia is the reddest state in the country now. It used to be one of the bluest states in the country.
You have like your... Who's like an idiot guy that does... Like your Bill Maher's, right? You got your Bill Maher's that are like, we're pussies. Like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I don't agree with Bill Maher 90% of shit, right?
I agree with him whenever he says stuff like that.
He's like, we're pussies. They've neutered us. Mm-hmm. They're like, we're a fucking laughing stock. And he goes, and we're buying into like delusion. Yeah. He goes, this can't be what our party stands for. And they're like, hey, Bill, shut your mouth. You're old and you're out.
Yeah.
And Bill's like, what the fuck? I've been a Democrat my whole life. And like now that guy's kind of like, he still definitely leans left, don't get me wrong. But they've like pushed him on the outside. And I don't know if he does vote for someone like Kamala Harris.
Oh, no doubt that he'll vote for Kamala Harris.
You think so?
Or I think it's going to be Gavin Newsom.
I disagree, but I was wrong on the Joe Biden thing.
And I've placed a bet with a mutual friend of ours. I'm not going to name drop him.
We went over that on the last podcast. You placed a bet that it'd be Gavin Newsom, so you're already closer than you were on the last podcast.
And remember, just to refresh people, the thing that will trigger that bet is is when Gavin Newsom becomes the front runner in the Democratic Party. And the thing I bet is that Gavin Newsom is the only Democrat that can beat Donald Trump. And the reason I say that is the guy's charismatic, he's confident, and he's got great hair. Though those three things will rally people.
Historically, in any election, mathematically, usually the taller person wins. How tall is he?
I don't know. Here, keep talking. I'll look it up.
So historically, if you go into any statistics and you look at it, usually the taller of the two opponents actually wins. That's not always the case, obviously. I think it's something like 72% of the time, it's whoever's taller wins. And that's why...
wow, Gavin Newsom is 6'3".
Oh, he's a tall motherfucker. I think Trump's only 6'2".
Okay, here. I'm going to look at...
Oh, yeah, look that up. Look, I'm interested. I think Trump's 6'2". He's a pretty big boy, too. Trump height? What do we got?
Of course, Google is trying to censor it.
Yeah, they don't. They're going to be like, he's 2 foot. 2 foot.
Yeah,
he's 2'6".
Yeah, they're gonna be like, oh, he's tall. He's the Indian in the cupboard.
Yeah, he's the fucking Indian in the cover. He's a little man.
Oh, wow. Holy shit!
6'4"?
No, Donald Trump is 6'3". Also.
Oh, so we got a battle.
Donald Trump and Gavin are both the same exact height.
The difference between Donald Trump and Gavin Newsom is Donald Trump is 6'3" by 8, and Gavin Newsom is 6'3" by 2.
Yes.
Correct. Yeah. Little penis. A little tiny penis. Well, I don't know. I don't actually know their pecker size, but I do know Donald Trump's balls are definitely way bigger.
So we mentioned that the Republican Party has become the party of the working class.
I would agree. I agree.
And you want to know the single piece of evidence that I would point to that's irrefutable? Hulk Hogan.
Oh my God!
Spoke at the Republican convention. Now,
yeah, your brother.
So this is the thing: the type of people that the DNC would find entertaining are people like opera singers and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I don't know if you could say that.
Okay, all right. So like, all right. I'm not, because I think me restating that would sound more offensive. So I'm not even gonna go there. But the thing is, Hulk Hogan and wrestling and Dana White, the founder and head of the UFC, you know,
he's a big Republican.
Yeah. But I guess the thing I'm saying is those are uniquely working class entertainers.
Yeah, of course.
You know, dude, you're not gonna find a whole lot of registered Democrats at a UFC fight
or fucking NASCAR or anything like that. Wrestling
or watching wrestling like
no.
where our friend David Granovsky is I think he's a wrestling manager, and he's also a wrestling announcer. Like he basically runs a show over there.
That guy literally is a personality.
I know. Like
he's so big. He should have two personalities. Like it's a big personality, dude. I love that guy.
Dude, he's one of my favorite people on the planet. And I talked to him, and hopefully we're going to be able to have him on soon.
Generally, probably one of my favorite people. He's just a good guy. You know what I mean?
And one of the funniest people that you'll ever meet. And he has a podcast and has so many interesting guests on there. But He's normally very serious on his podcast, but the thing that people don't see is how incredibly funny and witty he is privately. Well, I guess they're getting to see that at the wrestling arena.
He's the only person I know that can speed bag a pair of balls faster than you, dude. He's just a ball buster. That guy's awesome. He's just busting balls all the time,
dude. The person that I would say is the biggest buster of them all. Is somebody that we've had on this show before as a guest.
Oh, Ben Galliano.
Yes.
Yeah, correct.
That guy can bust them better than anybody else I know.
I don't know, because we haven't had on your father yet. That's rough.
And remember, my only rule is
never together.
That we never have them on together.
It's kind of like the Harry Potter Horcruxes. You got to keep them fucking separated, because if you bring them together, or no, like Captain fucking Planet, you bring those rings together and you get them all fucking. Who knows what the fuck's gonna pop out of there?
That's only if you're pollution.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah,
If you're pollution, you don't want those rings to come together.
you fucking
right?
don't want them to come together.
But if you're some little otter who's swimming in a bunch of like water where there's been an oil spill,
water.
you want those rings to come together so that it can whoop pollution's ass.
When did David indicate, our friend David Gnarsky, did he indicate when possibly he'd be coming on? I'm excited about that.
He told me that he would come on like sometime soon, kind of in a very like broad and kind of like mythical way.
Okay.
You know?
Yeah, he's pulling the fucking Batman off the Dark Knight.
Yeah.
I'm not the hero they need. I'm the fucking one they deserve.
No, you got it backwards. I'm not the hero they want. I'm the hero they deserve, or whatever that
You're
is.
just making fun of me being dyslexic. Couldn't let me have that, huh? This show's going downhill fast, man. Jesus.
No, but you know, with Hulk Hogan being the guy that kind of like jazzed the stage before Donald Trump.
Yeah, the personality guy, show guy.
That just reveals that the Republican Party has become the party of the working class.
It's fucking wild. Didn't he rip his shirt off? He's like, they tried to kill my hero, brother.
Yeah, and the guy said something about Trumpomania. He's like Trumpomania,
Trumpomania, brother.
And the guy's like ripping his shirt off.
Dude, I fucking love it, dude. Okay, I will say this. That guy has looked old since the fucking 70s. Mm-hmm. Like, he has to be in his 80s. He's got to be.
Oh, all right, so my question about Hulk Hogan is, why does his skin look like a hot dog skin?
Like him and Donald Trump go to the same tanning salon?
Yeah.
I don't know, dude.
Do you think that's how they know each other?
No, so I know in wrestling, that's very big, in bodybuilding, especially in the 70s, 80s, it was a very big thing to tan. You had to tan. And I know Vince McMahon, who ran the WWF, or WWE, whatever the fuck it's called, WWE for a long time, he was real big on like oiling and tanning and stuff like that. So those guys just kind of grew up in that, like Arnold Schwarzenegger era. So it was, pumping, burning, and tanning. That's what they did. You know what I mean? So that was a big thing. Not sure. It's a power thing too, to have darker skin.
Yeah.
But to have on like, the silk clothes and the thing, because it shows that you look at pasty skin and back in the day you mean, oh, these people are outside working. But now, they know brown's the way to go.
Dude, yeah.
But you're not brown.
Dude, yes, I am.
No, you're not brown.
So listen, the thing is, I'm a farmer. And I'm
you
outside
actually
farming.
literally are a farmer.
I literally am.
You are a farmer. I can't take that away from you.
And also, too, look, I'm not going to take this. And you're a rancher, and I'm not going to take that away from you either.
Yeah, because you're more like old McDonald farming, though.
Oh, like with the overalls and shit?
Yeah, and a little straw piece in your mouth. With your little straw hat.
Like I'm chewing on my piece of straw, and I'm like...
And you get your little straw hat.
And I say stuff like, hey, howdy y'all, and stuff.
How you doing? Stuff like that, yeah.
How y'all doing? Y'all come, yeah, and stuff like that. Yeah.
Which did you?
Yeah.
Get them on out of here. Stuff like that. Yeah. You call them taters.
Now listen, I don't go that far.
What the fuck are we talking about? All right. Yeah. All right. Yeah.
Well, in Ireland, I think they call them potatoes.
Potatoes.
Yeah.
Potatoes in Ireland, they're actually Spanish.
Oh, potatoes? Mm-hmm. Well, potatoes are a new world crop. Like, we took that shit from the Incans, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I'm pretty sure they're Spanish, man.
Well, the Spanish are the ones that brought them to Europe from the Incans.
Correct. And that's the only reason that fucking Irish happened.
Well, so that's both sides of my heritage.
Oh, yeah.
So
makes sense.
It kind of brings everything together. Mm-hmm. Now, okay,
you went. Actually, yeah, that makes sense. Your family went to Spain.
Are you going to try to call me a giant potato?
I'm not going to try to call you a giant potato.
Is that where all this is going?
You went to Spain because of potatoes. You left Ireland because of potatoes. So your family sigil should just be a potato.
No,
you're a giant. You are a potato. A giant potato.
No, I am not a potato.
Your jacket's the color of a potato.
Don't even try. Don't even try to call me Ronald McDonald, because I know that's swirling around inside of your head right now.
It is not. That's clown number one.
Okay.
You're the second biggest clown I know. He's number one.
Who the hell is that?
Ronald McDonald. Number one clown. OG. You're the second biggest clown I know.
Oh, just me?
Just you're number 2. He's number 1. Yeah, yeah. A lot of clowns come out of Ireland.
So I can't even be good at being a clown then.
No, you're second place. Silver. So on to our next point anyway. So we went over the Trump assassination attempts, right?
I wrote down some bullet points here. So
Yeah.
we talked about the Trump assassination.
Now a very interesting thing. We got
Oh, here. I do want to say one more thing. So,
you got something else?
So
Yeah.
remember, I think it was the night... It was either the night of the attempted assassination of Trump or it was the night after when Joe Biden came out and spoke to the country.
it was definitely not the night of.
Okay. And
Definitely not.
Well, he came out and spoke to the country and he wanted to kind of calm everybody's nerves and everything. And what he said was that in America, we are not going to settle this election using violence. We're going to settle it at the battle box.
The fuck's the battle box?
And I think that was my favorite statement that anybody made about the election, about how we come together as a country is we're not gonna settle this using using violence or anything like that. We're gonna settle it at the battle box.
Well, my favorites were they asked him if he thinks he would do a good job as I don't remember the topic, so I don't want to misspeak. It was on a certain topic, and he's like, "Well, I'll do the best I can." Right? And he's like, "And if I fail, at least you know I gave it my all." And everyone's like, "Yeah, no, man, not as president. This isn't like a fucking soccer tournament on the weekend where you guys can afford to lose it." It's like, what do you mean you're going to do the best you can? And if you fail, at least you know I gave it my all. Like, yeah, don't say that though. Just be like, no, we're going to fucking succeed. I'm going to do this. I got this shit on lock. And then he calls Trump his vice president. And and he called
He called Zelensky Vladimir Putin.
Yeah, he called Zelensky Vladimir Putin. I was like, Jesus, dude, what the fuck are you doing?
So that's either a sign of serious dementia.
That's what it is.
Or it's a sign of being like the most alpha that's ever existed.
Not a fucking chance.
All right, so yeah, it's the dementia thing.
The guy shits himself, dude. Do you think that's alpha?
I don't know.
We
dude.
talked about Pope Gate, dude, or what is it? No,
Biden Gate or doing the Biden,
where he shit himself in front of the Pope.
Well, look, this is all speculation, but
You ever seen a child shit themselves, Shane?
And it looked a lot like
the face is undeniable.
And it looked like it looked a lot like what Biden did at the D-Day anniversary.
100% is what he did. So, anyways, yes.
And remember that Italian chick, Giorgia Meloni, she was sitting there like, what's going on here?
Dude, no one knows what's going on.
Dude, like you could see her in the video going like,
who was the Italian lady that just lost for their presidential campaign? That was a while ago. They like stole it from her. Or was that France?
Oh, you're talking about France.
France.
Marine Le Pen.
She got, like, it was a no-brainer. She was going to win. Like, they're all celebrating. Champagne's going off. All the news things are like, oh, fuck, she won, right? Because she was their conservative equivalent, right? I don't know what the parties are called. I'm not educated on fucking French government because I never bother learning it because it doesn't matter.
Well, the thing is, look, the French deserve whatever's coming to them.
Yeah, because
that's all that I think.
I never worried about the French because I assumed if there's even an ounce of conflict with them, they'll just surrender.
Yeah.
So I don't even fucking, their opinions don't matter.
Dude, the Germany's probably the most neutered country in Europe.
Yeah, and then the French are second.
But the Germans could still conquer France.
Yeah, dude, I'm pretty sure 3 guys with squirt guns on a weekend could conquer France. So not worried about them. Not sure how North Africa doesn't just repel their ass out of there. But anyways, everyone's celebrating. They know she wins. Everyone knows she's the winner. She's fucking doing like Jaeger bombs and shit. Everyone's having a good time. And then in a landslide victory, she loses. Dude. How is that fucking possible?
You want to know why?
Dude, they just did what the Democrats did here in 2020.
Or it's just that look, I respect French history. Like prior to World War I, I've got a lot of respect for French history. But
what about it?
Well, like their culture, their food culture, their intellectual culture, their musical tradition. I mean, you had some pretty cool stuff come out of France.
Not really.
I mean, things have kind of spiraled downhill ever since they got rid of their monarchy.
I don't think the French have been cool in like 400 years.
Well, that's where you'd be wrong. But
I don't think so.
no, that's where you'd be wrong.
They're not
But,
cool, man.
You know, the thing is, unfortunately, France is kind of a loser country now. I mean,
Big loser country.
And the thing is, I'm not happy saying that. You know, it doesn't bring joy to my heart saying that. But I do think France is kind of a loser country now.
And fucking arrogant. How are you going to be a loser and arrogant?
That's called being French.
Yeah, doing the French.
So Biden's standing there squatting, and then the French are just standing there. They're like we're losers. We're losers, and we're proud of it.
Dude, I would rather shit myself in public than find out I was like 25% French.
And you know what, dude? Biden probably feels the same way.
He does. He does.
And you know what? At least that's something that we can respect. Right?
I don't know why I don't like the French so much. Just I don't like their wine. I don't like their food. I don't like their architecture. I'm serious. Up to about you're right. I misspoke. 300 years. Last 300 years. I don't like anything about the French. Before that, I find them very fascinating. I think they were a great culture. I don't know what transitioned. I'm going to have to go do some reading.
I think it's that they became atheists.
That's got to be it, right?
That's what I think the biggest part
You're
is.
right.
Like,
because about
like Voltaire and Robespierre and all those guys, they were all assholes.
It's right at that mid 1700s, man. I'm telling you, the French just decided, hey, we're gonna stop being cool for some reason because they were badasses, man. They're fucking badasses, like so historically significant. And then like that mid 1700s, maybe late 1700s, they're just like, nah, we're good, we suck. Balls, big balls.
So I've got some theological speculation as to why that is, but that would be too much for us to go into tonight.
Yeah,
maybe we can go into that another time. But
all right, so Biden stepping down. Who do you think? Oh, you said it already.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, who do you think the Democratic nominee is going to be?
And I've already in a way put money on it.
Okay, so let me do this.
I think it's going to end up being Gavin Newsom, and I think even in spite of the attempted assassination on Trump, I think Gavin Newsom still stands a pretty good chance at beating Trump. And on top of that, I think he stands a pretty good chance of beating Trump because we're still going to have a shitload of mail-in ballots and everything.
Okay, so
year. I've
I've been wrong so far. So it's 1-0. You were right. Biden stepped down. I don't think Biden stepped down.
You were wrong, and you're a nerd.
I think he was pushed out, and you said he would voluntarily step down. I think he was pushed out.
You were wrong, and you were a nerd.
No, I'm not a nerd. I'm the fucking coolest person at this
You're a nerd.
table.
No.
Yeah, 100% fact.
You're a confused nerd.
Do you think Joe Biden is still alive right now?
Well, what I'm going to say to you is what I said earlier, is there is... Wait, hang on. I think there is probably greater than a 0% chance that he is alive.
That's the Vegas shit. You remind me of a politician. Like, you can't lock down a fucking answer to save your life. You're so afraid of being wrong that you don't even take shots. So I don't think... I would say there's probably a 30% chance that Joe Biden is dead.
Well, you know what I'm going to say? I think there's a 55% chance that Joe Biden is alive.
Okay, so you're going 45% dead, higher than me. Mm-hmm. I like that. See, you grabbed your nuts and you made a fucking statement. Mm-hmm. There you go, people. Shane made a statement. I think it's about, I'll agree with you. I think it's if there's a good chance that he's not alive, or that we find out he's going to die in the next couple days of some complications, because I believe he was at a Mexican restaurant, if I'm not incorrect on that, eating Mexican food, and he was getting rushed to the hospital and then never got admitted to the hospital, never made it to the hospital itself, and they rushed him off to Air Force One to go to Johns Hopkins. I don't want to misspeak.
It was some military hospital out east,
okay,
and Joe Biden was in Las Vegas at the time.
Correct, he was in Las Vegas eating Mexican food, which I find ironic that his big thing was like leaving the borders open, and they got him. The food got him.
Now, where was he at Taco Bell or was he at a like a real Mexican?
No, he wasn't
restaurant?
at like a fancy Mexican place like Taco Bell. I think it was like a sit down restaurant somewhere. Or something.
Okay,
yeah. So They rushed him to Air Force One, and as far as I know, the motherfucker never landed. They're still flying around with him up there somewhere. Because is it tonight or tomorrow? He's supposed to give a fucking speech. He said he would address it.
It was tonight.
Has that happened? Can you Google that? Has Joe Biden given a speech? I guarantee he fucking hasn't. I'm willing to bet money on it, actually. I don't know if we ever hear from his old ass again. Like, where is Joe Biden?
Oh, he spoke.
Not a fucking chance.
Apparently, he said history is in your hands.
He did speak, huh? Is that pre-recorded? Let's look at that. What does he look like there?
Well, it could also be artificial intelligence.
Like AI, CGI. Let's see. Our republic is now in your hands.
Yeah, he said, our republic is now in your hands. Mm-hmm. Biden appeals to Americans to preserve our democracy. The best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That is the best way to unite our nation.
Oh, shit, I've been wrong a lot. So he did speak. That's just probably a
okay, so the only thing I'm not one to put on a tinfoil hat here, but how do we... It could have been AI generated. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because the thing that would be more convincing to me...
I think pre-recorded. I don't think...
Well, the thing that would be more convincing to me would be if he were to go out and do a press conference with actual real physical journalists, and then they could ask him real questions, and they could have a real interaction. Then that way they would know that they're dealing with somebody who is still living.
Dude, maybe they did just strong-arm his old ass out of there. You know what I mean? Maybe, like, we're just jumping to all these things. Maybe they were just like, look, man, you got to go.
Well,
we don't like you. They don't like you. Get the fuck out of here, man.
But you see, don't you think that even that undermines their entire argument about them being the pro-democracy side? Because basically what this was a giant coup.
Yeah.
Where they overthrew Joe Biden, Pelosi, the Obamas, the Clintons, and then all these wealthy donors like Jeffrey Katzenberg, a very, very wealthy media tycoon down in Hollywood. He made damn sure that Joe Biden got cut off financially, that the Biden campaign got cut off financially until he stepped down. And Katzenberg has been talking about this since before the attempted Trump assassination. So I guess the thing that's interesting to me is that Joe Biden is that Joe Biden's been forced out in the name of democracy, when in the half-assed primary that the DNC did this year, they really only allowed Joe Biden to pretty much be the only guy on the ballot in a lot of states.
Well, I know this motherfucker didn't speak in 8 months, and now he spoke 3 times already in the last, month and a half? Not even? He looks good there. He looks better than he has. Maybe the stress, huh?
Maybe. Well, I also think it was kind of ironic that that day when he was in Las Vegas, I think it was when he was being interviewed by, I think he was doing a press conference or something. They asked him something like, well, under what conditions would you be willing to step down? And you remember what he said? What he said was, the only condition I'd be willing to step down is if there was some kind of a serious medical emergency that required me to step down, or that required me not to, or that required me to step down from being the presumptive nominee. And surprise, surprise, that afternoon he tested positive for COVID.
Was that what they're saying he has right now? COVID?
Well, that's what they said he had. They said that's why he had to be medevac, or that's why they said that he had to be transported from Las Vegas to some hospital out east, whether it was Johns Hopkins or maybe Walter Reed, in Maryland or something like that.
Walter Reed.
Okay, yeah, Walter Reed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow. All right. Well, shit, man. I'm just on a bad streak of being wrong. Possibly.
Well, or it could all just be... Yeah. Dude, it could all just be a farce, man.
Yeah, it probably is. Knowing our government. Dude, I ever since, all this shit just reminds me of the moon landing. Who the fuck knows? You know what I mean?
And look, so, and we can probably start wrapping up on this. If our government was able to successfully murder the president in 1963, which is what it looks like happened.
Whoa. I don't agree.
And then And then who did they try to scapegoat, Nico? Like, so obviously they tried to scapegoat Lee Harvey Oswald as the lone gunman, but realistically, who did they try to kind of like scapegoat by implication?
Well, at that time, there was a huge movement, anti-Italian movement in this country, and they were trying to suppress Italian-American businessmen because there was a transfer of wealth from the early 1900s, the 19 teens, 1920s, to 1960s. Italians have accumulated a great amount of wealth because they started investing in businesses, becoming members of society, really cementing themselves, through World War II, fighting in those wars, coming home, starting families, and they didn't like that. You know what I mean? They didn't want Italians to be successful, so they tried to blame Italians.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. They tried to scapegoat the Italian community.
Exactly.
And look, this is the thing.
Which is bullshit.
Well, and look, so this is the thing. Let's just be honest here. Some of my favorite people in the world are Italians, right? Mm-hmm. Now, the mafia...
What is that? No.
Existed.
No.
And the mafia, in certain respects, it still does exist.
Incorrect.
But this is the main thing about the Kennedy assassination that I've always found interesting, is the people that try to impugn the mafia, or that try to, or whatever you want to call them, the Italian community, the people that want to try to impugn the Italian community.
That's propaganda to suppress Italians from the 1930s and 40s. There's no such thing as the mafia.
Okay, first of all, it's racist propaganda against Italians.
I'm very aware of that.
To try to accuse them of murdering President Kennedy. And what religion are Italians normally?
Catholic.
And what religion was John F. Kennedy?
Catholic.
Okay, so why would a Catholic kill a Catholic?
Exactly.
Next stop on our truth bus, yeah, I think our peanut gallery is laughing over there. So next stop on our truth bus, I guess the main question that I would ask is, who had the power to order the Secret Service in 1963 in Dallas to not secure the rooftops of the buildings and to not secure the windows of the buildings? And I can tell you this.
Federal government.
And you know what? Maybe federal government, whatever, but I can tell you who didn't have the power to...
Italian business.
Right. The Italians did not have the power to roll in there and tell the Secret Service, don't secure these spots. Correct. So the thing is, as crooked and nefarious as some Italians were in the 1960s, they still did not have the power to murder the president. And so
I don't even like your statement.
It's absolutely true.
One of the biggest crooked and nefarious fucking people would be the president that got murdered and his family. How'd they make their money? I don't remember.
They got really good. Well, you're talking about Joseph Kennedy. Mm-hmm. He got really, really good at trading stocks. Sort of like the way that Warren Buffett's really good at trading stocks. Kind of like stocks? The way, yeah.
Oh, because word on the street is that it was illegal, alcohol.
Can you prove it? I don't really think you can.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Bootlegger. And who did he sell it to, Shane? He sold it to my people to keep us in the fucking slums. You kept them drunk. You kept them fucking liquored up because the Irish tried to suppress the Italians because you guys didn't like that we came to this country because you guys ran over here when you couldn't grow fucking potatoes. And then the Italians came in the next wave.
Bullshit. We got starved out of our own country
you guys
by the freaking British.
You guys are shitty fucking farmers. So I'm glad that you're a farmer now so you can try to fucking make up for your ancestors being so shitty at it, right? Then the Italians tried to come over.
Literally removed my ancestors
and did exactly what the fuck you tried to do. And you guys try to suppress us and keep us alcohol and fucking drugged up.
The English literally removed my ancestors off of the land that you could grow shit on so that they could put cows on it. And then they put my ancestors on top of rocks.
I don't like the English. But don't shit on the Italians.
And I don't like the English either. Look, the only thing I'm saying is Look, the Italians are not as squeaky clean as Chef Boyardee is.
All right.
Hey,
you know what? Last time
you're going to sit here and try to say that the Italians are squeaky clean like Chef Boyardee or Little Caesar. Okay. Bullshit.
All right.
No.
Yeah. Last time I checked, the Italians didn't burn down half of fucking New York. That was your people, the Irish.
I bet the Italians made money on it, though.
We weren't even fucking there.
Bull.
We weren't even there yet.
Bull.
You're talking about
Bull.
the fucking 1870s, dude.
Oh, you're talking about after the Irish came here because they got starved off of their land in Ireland by the English, and then they got freaking drafted to go fight in the Civil War that they didn't even know what the hell was going on.
So what? When the Italians came over, we got drafted into World War II. You didn't see us burning down fucking cities. That was your people.
No, the Italians started dealing drugs into the cities. No, that's your people.
Your people.
No, that's your people.
Your people.
No,
Yep.
that's your people.
Yep.
But
The only difference between me and you is that my name ends in a vowel and your name ends in a vowel sometimes.
Sometimes. That's right. But look, I think the one thing that we can agree on, in spite of how wrong you are about almost everything.
You're wrong.
I think the one thing we can agree on is that to try to blame the Italians and not the federal government and specifically not the intelligence agencies in the federal government for the murder of President Kennedy is bullshit. Because the thing is,
I agree.
The Italians would not have, as influential as some Italian businessmen were at the time, like Chef Boyardee and stuff, because Chef Boyardee existed. They did not have the ability to order that the Secret Service violate protocol and not secure the high ground, right?
Correct.
No matter what, no matter, even if you think the Italians are like a Genghis Khan or like a Vladimir Lenin or something like that, they did not have the power to order the Secret Service.
I don't even get the fucking references. So you're trying to be passive aggressive. I don't even know what you mean by those references.
Well, I'm talking about two very, very brutal, nasty guys.
Okay, well, the Italians weren't brutal and nasty.
No. Notice what I said is, even if you assume that the Italians are very, very brutal, nasty people, which look, again, like I said before, some of my favorite people in the world are Italians.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So the only thing I'm saying is, even if you were somebody who assumed that every Italian in the early 1960s were just brutal, nasty people, they still would not have had the power to order that the Secret Service not protect the president from snipers.
Correct.
And the thing is, the same things at play, the same thing was at play a couple weeks ago with the attempted assassination of Trump, right? Where no matter how powerful some non-governmental group is, they still would not have had the power to order the Secret Service not to secure the high ground. That is something, that's an order that had to happen within the government, in particular today within the DHS. Now, it may go above the DHS to somebody higher than that, maybe at the Pentagon or something, but the thing is, it had to have gone higher than just that Cheadle woman at Secret Service, who's now
potato chip lady.
Yeah, and I'm guessing she's going to go and protect potato chips now again.
Yeah, in the break room.
Yeah, which I mean, look, let's not demean anybody's job. That's an important job, dude.
Someone's got to do it, man.
Yeah.
Dude, and in all seriousness, I just love busting Shane's balls. I love the Irish. Some of my favorite people on the planet.
We all know that you love the Irish. And we all know that your favorite people on the planet are the Irish.
Most of the women I date are Irish. Yeah. Very true. Well, I think...
Okay.
Did we hit all our points? What do we got?
I think we did. Yeah, we did. Okay. Well, let's start wrapping up, and then next week we will get into the kind of the anomalies of the attempted assassination of President Trump.
That's going to be fun because we can actually talk hypothetically with like a little, what the fuck are you laughing about?
It's funny because anytime that we say that we're definitely doing something the following week,
we never do it.
We never do it.
We've not done it once. Yeah. We always have a different topic.
Like if we say for sure that we're going to have like a guest on the following week, it never happens.
Dude, could you imagine if someone like, you could totally watch, like, what do we got, 30 of these, 40 of these? Mm-hmm. You could watch them in any order you wanted, because if you watch them in order, it would be like, what was the show that they bought the rights to, but they released it out of order? So Sliders. Do you remember Sliders in the 90s?
Oh yeah, yeah.
There were just episodes where they would like slide in at the beginning, and you were like, they'd be like doing something for like 4 minutes, and they would slide somewhere else. You're like, what the fuck was that? And then 6 episodes later, that's how that show ended. It wasn't even fucking order. Like you couldn't keep up with the show. It was just like, whoa, fucking mind blowing.
You thought you were watching it in order, but you weren't.
You never
And
were.
Then
It
when
was
you
in an
thought you
order.
were watching it in order, you found out that you weren't. Yeah.
Sliders was wild. What a wild concept. Anyways, that's our show. It's just fucking, we're just like, this is next week on our show. And then it might be like 6 shows later we talk about that shit. I like it. It keeps it interesting, man.
too.
Stay week to week.
Okay. All right. Well, next week we're going to get into the Trump
We're
assassination.
definitely talking about
it.
Trump
That means that we will probably not get to it, but
the chances of us talking about that are the same chances that we gave Joe Biden on being alive or not.
okay. You know what? I'll go with
60-40?
that. Yeah, 60-40.
Love it, brother.
Let's do it.
All right, guys. See you next week.